Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's vlog post. Again, I love being in this industry. I really do. And it amazes me that after, I guess, more than 40 years being associated with the mortgage and real estate communities, that the old expression, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And I think I've been very fortunate in my entire career, from the very beginning through today, of having the opportunity to be around some of the best, brightest, most professional people, both in mortgage and real estate. And I think the lessons that we learn, the things that we see, the reason I stay involved in the business, the reason I still look to work with new people and share with them the things that I've learned, is because it's a culmination of understanding that situational awareness in our business is one of the strongest things that we can learn, whether you be on the mortgage side or the real estate side, because the lessons that we see repeat themselves. The reason people study history, those people who fail to understand and follow history are condemned to repeat the mistakes that those have made in the past. But those mistakes, those things that happen, are lessons that we can learn so that we ourselves become this wealth of information, so that when clients or referral partners come to us in situations, that we have that situational awareness to be able to present solutions that not only work today but have worked in the past. And the reason I bring this up is because of a conversation I just had with one of my clients, who by all measures and has been recognized as one of the best, if not the best, customer satisfaction people in the entire mortgage industry, shared with me a story that reminded me of something that happened to me more than 30 years ago. And to make a really long story short, it kind of just follows a model that I'm sure that many of us may have seen or may look back at and said, hey, maybe I could have done this and it might have changed the outcome. And so the story is pretty simple. There's a couple, they own a house, they've had the house for a long time, life changes, they want to go on to the next stage of their lives, they'd like to move to a different location, that they want to have a different type of home, they want to be closer to different types of amenities. And guess what? They go out, they talk to an agent, they look at a number of properties, they see a few things that would really work for them, they get really excited, they go back home and they jump on the internet and they start looking around and start pricing things out and come to the realization that they sell their house, and even if they put all the money down on the next home, the payments are going to be way too high. And so when the agent calls to follow up, they're like, yeah, it would be great, but we're not sure we can make it work. And the agent reminds them of, my client, who she suggested that they speak to before they ever started looking, but do not give up on their dream. Go have a conversation and see where it goes. So they call my client and they have a conversation. They said, they were on the internet, they looked at some things, they did some, used some rate and payment calculators, and just realized that there was no way they could afford it, even using all of their equity, to buy the next house. And so my loan officer looked at their situation, as you're supposed to do, and realized very quickly that the theory of taking all the money from the one house and buying the next house and taking a mortgage for the difference didn't work to their advantage, because these people had a considerable amount of other monthly financial obligations, and that the path that would work best for them would be to take some of the equity in the house when they sold it and pay off their other outstanding obligations, and taking believe it or not, a larger mortgage on their new home, because this would reduce their total monthly payment by hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so they not only would have the house that they really wanted, but their monthly cash flow would be significantly lower than it was right now. And again, these are things that if they go to the internet, if they just use calculators, if they just follow the quote unquote standard operational procedures, sell one house, use the money, buy the next house, take a mortgage for the different. If nobody stops and looks at this, and we had this conversation about why are people refinancing out of 3% mortgages into 6% mortgages? Well, because they're cashing out and they're paying off 15, 20, 25% debt and lowering their monthly payments. This is exactly the case. And so now they realize I can get the house that I want. I can make the move that I need, we really want to do. And we can come away with better monthly cash flow having done it. They listed, they listed their house for sale. They made an offer on the new one. They quickly got an offer on the house that they're selling, and things are going to work out for them, and they're ecstatic. Now, that would have never happened if that agent didn't remind them to speak to the mortgage professional. If they only trusted the internet, if they only trusted social media to do these things, they'd have been sitting in the house with a boatload of equity and a ton of monthly payments and not been happy in any case. And now they're going to end up in the house that works better for them for this stage of their lives with monthly payment that are far lower than what they would have been had they not made the move at all. And it's all because that the people that were involved in this transaction were professional enough to sit down with the client and explain to them what all of their options were. And I think that's a very big thing that you have to understand. If you want to stay in the mortgage and the real estate industry, you're going to have to compete against the internet and social media and the people who just believe that there are only one sets of solutions to every problem. That ability to look at the entire picture, to present multiple solutions, to give people what their options are, is what I like to call situational awareness. And if you don't have situational awareness, there are going to be people in your marketplace who end up in situations that they don't have to be in. So in this case, these people got what they wanted. They got the change in their lives that they wanted. They got the house that they wanted, and they lowered their monthly payments in the process so that they could further enjoy their lives. The agent got to list and sell a house and help them buy the next one, as well as my loan officer helped that client through a process, did the loan that they needed, and established a relationship with a client. And another story about how sitting down with people, understanding their situation and presenting all of their options and remembering the fact that each situation is different, that people have different objectives. And if we share with them their options, people can make informed choices. And if we don't do that, then we're no better than an algorithm, in which case you don't deserve to get paid a whole bunch of money to make that happen. And for those select people out there who are going to remain, those professionals who provide that exceptional value for these clients, guess what? Then you're only going to compete on information and who can get the most posts or hits and leads. And you're only going to deal with a very select group of people. And they're going to be a vast majority of the people who are not going to end up making their best possible choice because they weren't presented all of the options. As always, if you have questions or comments about this or anything else, Mike, imtcoaching.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Take care.